Hi, folks. This is a lesson from Mr. B, linked to cyber teachers. What's it about? Well, it's basically that. It's lessons from life, things that I wish I'd known at 16 that I now know. And it's going to be the first one of a series of lessons linked to the big lessons I've learned in life. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of context first, and then I'm going to tell you what I think is the most important lesson from my life in terms of what's really, really important to know. Okay, folks, so some little context to this is I taught some students in my school for a number of years, some of them up to 7 years. And the very, very last lesson, I said to them, listen, that last lesson, I'm going to allow you to ask me any questions about my life, find out a bit more about me, and is exactly what they did. And the thing that came out about it was that the students really wanted to know my life experiences and how things had evolved, and it kept on coming up and time again. What do you wish you could have done? What differently? So this series of lessons is linked to the kind of pulling together of all those ideas and discussions that came about in this lesson, which is why I've called it Lessons from Life. And this is the first lesson in terms of what I think is the most important aspect. So particularly in terms of the current circumstances and all the problems that are going on in the world, it's a really, really important lesson. So thanks to my students for being the seed for sowing this idea and for it subsequently coming out. So what is the most important lesson in life? The number one thing? Well, drum roll. It might not come as any surprise to you, but I'm going to explain why. The most important lesson in life, or most important thing I've learned, is that your family are the most important thing. That might sound completely obvious thing to state, but you're going to go through life and you have loads of different friends and acquaintances, but a family that you love, a family that you've been through good and hard times with, are always going to be there for you. And it's so important to appreciate that and value it and make the most of it whilst you have that time. I was unlucky. I lost, for example, my mum when she was in her early 60s. There are many things that I wish I'd talked to her about, but I didn't really get the opportunity or take the time to do that. And I can assure you that you might have your highs and lows with families. My parents were divorced when I was 11, and we went through some really, really difficult times. But through all those difficult times, we still managed to come together as a family, and that's been so crucial to my life. I probably got about 2 or 3 friends I can count as really true friends, but actually the core people of my life are still my family, and they're my motivation. They're the ones that I treasure in that respect. So take that opportunity to say that you love your family. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy about it, and have that time to talk, to come together, and really make the most of it. And against what I've said, you're going to have your highs and your lows, but stick with it. What's really important in terms of your family? Well, again, I hope I'm not teaching you to suck eggs here, but it's this whole idea of communicating. So important to make sure that you keep on communicating with your loved ones, especially through difficult times. And don't be afraid. Sometimes you might have those quite frank conversations about things, but very often if things are let go, they kind of escalate, and that can cause loads of problems. So there's loads of different ways, obviously, of communicating today, but don't be afraid of the old-fashioned face-to-face. If it's an issue, it doesn't need to be confrontational. It's just each person having their say in a reasoned way. And very, very often, all these fears that we have, once they come out into the open and we start communicating, they're not what they quite are. So it's a really, really important aspect of recognizing that in family is so important. So that's it, folks. Really, it's as simple as that. It's not really rocket science, but something that potentially we need to be reminded of. Don't forget, family, most important thing. So I hope you found this really helpful, useful, to give that time to show the affection that you need to those that you really love. Reality is they're not always going to be there. So take that time to do that. So hope you found that helpful. As I've said, don't forget to look out for the next lesson, lesson number 2 in things that I wish I'd known at 16 that I now know. Take care.
And if you really found this video entertaining, why not like and subscribe, and we'll keep the Cyber Teachers content coming.